Hey there, crafters! Today we're jumping into the wonderful world of crochet. Whether you're curious about how to get started, the supplies that you may need, maybe you're just looking for a little guidance, you are in the right place. I'll walk you through all the basic supplies you'll need to get started, and I'll share a few extras along the way that have just made things a little more exciting, a little more organized. I don't like things to be out of order, so I like to keep my projects organized, and I'll show you how I do some of that along the way here. Grab a comfy seat, a cup of tea, let's look over these crochet items and I'll tell you what I think. All the links will be in the description down below. First of all, you are going to want crochet hooks. Not just one, but many. Yeah. So you'll first want one, and then you'll realize that you need another one. So I would highly recommend, if this is a hobby you're going to want to continue, that you get a set of hooks. Not just any set, a good set. I'll show you my favorites. The Crochet Amour set. My ultimate go-to favorite hook, especially for my Afghans, is a number 6 tulip. They're a little pricey, but I'll tell you, I have used this one to make several Afghans now, and this is the one. This is the one. If you can find one, get one. If you're not wanting to spend a lot, this is a pretty good affordable set. It's the black and gold ones you might see me use occasionally. They're just pretty. And they work fine. Nothing wrong with this. So this is a great beginner set. Any metal hook is always going to slide a little bit easier. You won't have as much resistance. I really prefer metal. But I do have some other hooks that I've collected along the way, and they do have various uses. Plastic. Sometimes for like bigger size. This is a 19 millimeter. If you have some really chunky yarn and you're doing a project with that kind of yarn, you can't really get metal hooks that big. You want to go with probably a plastic. There is wood. You do get a little more resistance, so if you're a beginner, that might be really helpful to keep your yarn on your hook. And if you're in a hurry, you might want something that slides smoother like plastic or the metal especially. That's why I stick with the metal, because I'm trying to get a lot of stitches done really fast. So the sets that I showed you earlier, they don't usually come in bigger hook sizes. Now, I don't use a lot of inline hooks, but I do have this one set, and it's a Susan Bates. It is a size 8, 9, and 10. And these are pretty new to me. I've used them just a little bit. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. They're kind of ergonomic, and it's hard to find these sizes. So when I found this set, even though it was inline, I thought, well, I'll just give it a try. I love them, and I have some upcoming projects that I'm going to be using these for. Shall we talk about yarn? There are so many yarns, so many different materials of yarn. For me, beginning, I just decided, it's recommended to start with acrylic, so I'm just gonna stick with that. I want to get like my techniques and my skills down. It's inexpensive. It's okay if you mess it up. Undo it, redo it, throw it away, whatever you need to do. Frog it and retry. So the yarns that I have used the most, especially when I started, Super Saver, Red Heart. It comes in so many colors. It comes in ombre and stripes and all kinds of things. It's pretty readily available, inexpensive. So starting, any acrylic yarn that is a medium worsted weight yarn. It doesn't have to be these brands. These are just what I started with. But if you already have something, by all means, go for it. Just make sure it's a medium worsted weight yarn, and check the label for the hook size that is recommended. These are 5.5 millimeters, so we start with that. If you're wanting to make things like for your kitchen, like a pot holder. This is a pattern I made from Daisy Farm Crafts in 100% cotton, free on Yarn Inspirations website, I believe. Obviously I didn't use this color, but this is the brand. It's Handcrafters Bernat. The thing about cotton to know about is it's a little tougher to work with. So if you're just beginning, be patient. That's why we recommend starting with the acrylic. It's a little softer and stretchier until you really get the feel of it. And once you get that, then you can move on to, if you want to try some of these other projects, you can move on to other types of yarn. There's all kinds of fancy yarns: merino wool, alpaca, angora. If you're wanting to make amigurumi, if you're wanting to make amigurumi, which I personally haven't done a lot of, but I do watch a lot of crocheters make their awesome plushies and so many other cute little toys. A lot of them are using acrylic or a cotton acrylic blend, and some of them for the plushies use chunky yarn. I just got this loops and threads. I'm not gonna get really into depth on yarn. I think that's a quick overview that might be helpful for you. You can get really fancy with your yarn. People can spin their yarn and hand dye it and make some really beautiful, amazing yarns. So you will end up wanting some other tools if you start crocheting in the dark, like when you're watching TV or something. A neck light. This just goes like this. And you can angle it right towards your work, or if you're using a dark yarn, a little extra light is really helpful. A flexible ruler. I found mine at the dollar store. I bought 3. Gauge tools. We're gonna learn how to use these later. I'll put a link to that video as well. Stitch markers. I recommend getting a lot of them. Tapestry needle and scissors. Some people like to use a row counter. I personally haven't been using one. I know that there's little ones you can get that go on your finger. There's one by Susan Bates that looks really cute. I think you can get an app on your phone. I'm usually just writing it down as I go. I have a little notepad and I take notes of like, okay, I just finished row 7, and I do a little check mark to tell myself it's done and I'm on row 8. And then when row 8 is done, I do a little check mark. But that's just me. This is my Volare pillow. It's actually a gaming pillow, but it goes around like these. And then it sits around your waist. Well, that's not very attractive. How about like this? And you can crochet with your arms resting. When you're crocheting for hours, which you should not do without taking breaks, you might get into some bad ergonomic habits. So this helps you stay upright, protects your arms, your elbows, lets you bring your work a little closer to you, and make sure you're crocheting in a healthy way. This lovely Volare pillow just helps with that. You can use pillows that you already have. I bought 3. One for me, one for the one who does the gaming, and one for traveling, which I am also guilty of crocheting in the passenger seat. Which brings me to my next topic of having a go bag full of yarn and hooks. My go bag is actually a gardening bag. Any big tote will do, but I just throw my project that I want to work on in there and take it with me. This is my yarn spinner. This yarn spinner is super cool. You're gonna find that maybe you can't find the center pull on these type of skeins. This comes off, it's just a magnet. But you're gonna find that when you're pulling from the outside, your skein's just gonna flop all over the couch and land on the ground. So this prevents that from happening. I just got this and I really wish I would have found it 3 years ago because I have spent a lot of time chasing my yarn skeins. Highly recommended. This is my yarn winder. It is a manual, which there are electric ones, but I'm actually kind of glad that I ended up buying the manual because when my yarn is tangled, I need to kind of do this at my own pace. I think the electric winders are pretty awesome if you have a skein that you know isn't tangled, maybe it's brand new and you're just turning into a cake. But unfortunately, especially with the cats around, I have a tendency to spend a lot of time untangling yarn, and this really comes in handy. Also, one more thing, my art cart, and I use the little art cart to put the top shelf. I put like my hook, my scissors, my notions and stuff, and then I put my project on the top and the yarn can go in the bottom. So that's it, everybody. I think we went over quite a bit today, and I will answer any questions if you want to put them down in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be going over a lot more coming up. So if you don't want to miss anything, hit that bell. Catch you later.